So apparently, it's become once again my game to lose. Though, I mean, the sergeant moving him forward, opening the door, really no reason to do that. I should have just moved him back 2 squares to the left or right, had him go into Overwatch. But, I moved him forward. I can't undo that. He's made the choice. I undid the door open. Luckily, I have 3 command points. I'm looking to see if I can run away without any of them getting me, but they can all get me. Even if I did lose the sergeant here, or if I do lose the sergeant here, it's not the end of the world. We still have enough termies to push on that spawn. But that's what happens sometimes when it does seem like a mop-up operation, and it is a mop-up operation. You can still make mistakes. You can still push forward too far, and you might end up losing guys and putting yourself in a worse position. So what I do to try and salvage the situation is have him move back, the sergeant move back, get on Overwatch, spend the rest of my command points to put that guy back there with the power axe on Overwatch, and then the punching bag, he'll clear the channel, go on guard mode, and he's kind of just there to be there, and we'll see what he does. And the South Squad, well, now's the time, since the Gene Stealers seem to be preoccupied with the North Squad, is they can move up and start firing down that channel, and we'll have of course the assault cannon lead that. So that's great. The flamer, the punching bag, hey, he does something. He attracts a Gene Stealer and he kills it. That's great. And so now with 2 Marines firing on Overwatch, they're able to take care of the other 2 Gene Stealers. Actually 3 Gene Stealers. So that's great. Now they're definitely all in a position to do some work next turn. Okay, this time I promise it's a mop-up operation. I just gotta pave the way with these 2 squads, push on that spawn. It's not really gonna be a problem doing that. This was of the 3 DLC levels that came with the Space Wolves DLC. This is the coolest level. I said that in the beginning, and I'll kind of explain why. Is that this level, I like the objective. I like having to push on doors and get them closed rather than just do something like go on the defensive and survive or kill X amount of Gene Stealers, which is the second level is just you have to survive for 12 turns, which is basically just about getting into cubby holes, getting in defensive positions, and just surviving. And the third level is pretty similar. You have to kill X amount of Gene Stealers, which again is just about getting in defensive positions and killing what you can. The real difficulty in those 2 levels is just dealing with a lot of brood lords. Whatever, you got to do what you can to get rid of them. But this level, I think, takes more strategy. You have to have a plan. It has to be coordinated with 2 squads or more to approach all 4 of the spawns of the Gene Stealers and try and take out those spawns, close the doors. And so that's what makes it interesting. What makes it a little more interesting is that you're dealing with a map where the corners are really tight and there's not a lot of corridors. These corridors being the exception that are very long. Especially in the beginning, you're not dealing with a lot of long corridors. So you really have to rely on your heavy weapons. You have to rely on redundancy, and you have to rely on your individuals with melee. And it requires some luck. It requires application of redundancy principles. But as you can see, I didn't get too lucky. I got lucky when I needed to, and never really unlucky at too bad of times. And so that probably helped to making this in the end a successful mission and keeping a lot of my Terminators alive. And so back to the game. It's really just pressing forward with these 2 squads, pinching them in, and we have enough ammo in that assault cannon for him to be the guy who pushes up, and I imagine he'll be the one who finishes the map.
Holding position. Holding position.
Not a big secret what's going on here. There's not a lot left in the cards for the Gene Stealers. However, I do make a little mistake, not a big mistake. I've made it a couple times, moving that sergeant right up against, well, not right up against, but only one square away. One square of spacing between him and the assault cannon. If the assault cannon does decide to blow up, it's a 2 square radius explosion. He could take out the sergeant with him. It's not going to cause me to lose the game, but it's an unnecessary casualty. That assault cannon is potentially a ticking time bomb. And so really, this is, again, you gotta watch your spacing. What I can do with this assault cannon is I can move him up and spend my command points to basically take out this Gene Stealer.
Followed by my hand.
So he takes out that one, goes on Overwatch. He's only gonna get, I think the way it works is he'll get 2 shots on that Gene Stealer before the Gene Stealer can get in melee, which is enough. And you know, it's pushing a little more aggressively than I would absolutely need to, but I'm trying to finish things off. But what's cool about the position of the assault cannon is he's close enough to the spawn where Gene Stealers will not spawn this turn. It'll only make that circle effect telling me that it's going to spawn next turn. So what that allows him to do is, because I rolled at least 2 command points, is run up and close the door. And you can see that kind of just finishes things a little sooner.
The bulkheads have been sealed, and the Gene Stealers are trapped.